Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about the Toronto Blue Jays and who would be a likely fit. Of course, pitching has been the topic of choice for this team. They need somebody. They've had guys in there that have really struggled. However, their bats have been good, but can it really offset what needs to be controlled? At this point, they're one game below 500, 4.5 back of the New York Yankees for first in the AL East. In the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. But if you had to give them a letter grade, what would it be? And we'll start with you, Justin.
It's so tough to rate them as a team because it's like 3-4 different animals in there. Like, you got to give Anthopoulos credit. It was a team that struggled to hit lefties. They added Colaballo, Martin, and Donaldson in the offseason for peanuts, and the lineup has just took off. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, you have to give the team an A. They're the highest scoring team in baseball. It's all there. And if they can continue to put it together, they're going to have a good shot at making the playoffs. But from the defensive side of the ball and their pitching staff, like, I don't know how you could rate them higher than a D. So I guess if you take those two grades and you level it off in the middle, it'd be C plus B minus somewhere in there. But I mean, the offense is there. If they can add pitching, starting pitching just isn't deep enough, and the bullpen is just, everybody's batting ahead of themselves in the order there in the bullpen. One closer knocks everybody down a spot, and that thing could settle out, and it could be looking at a playoff team and maybe a championship team if all goes right. Yeah, because I'm in that middle of the road as well, C plus B minus, because they haven't, it's a weak division, and they're not. This should be a team that's doing that. Like, you're scoring that many runs, you should be a top contender team in any division, let alone the worst division probably in baseball right now. So they're not doing enough to warrant getting anything higher than, say, at a B, A, definitely not an A. You have to do everything. You can't just do one little thing proper, and they're not doing, you can't have a streak where you go 10 games of doing everything right and then, start, now our pitching's going to do okay, but our defense is going to lack. You got to pull it all together, and they're not far back, only 4.5 back, lots of baseball still to play. So not a great grade at midseason, but hopefully improvement.
How about this? You've seen expansion before in baseball. It might happen again. You look at Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of baseball, is a little more kind to the city of Montreal, saying, look, they've sold out exhibition games. This is a passionate fan base. You even had former Expos who are still within the baseball community in the game now saying, look, Montreal seems to be the next choice for baseball. Would you guys, at least say in the next 5-10 years, will we see baseball return to Montreal?
I don't think you can say it's likely, because the key obstacle is going to be a stadium. Major League Baseball said it. Everybody pretty much knows it. If you get a new stadium, it's Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. The Expos will be back. The sellouts in the preseason are fantastic. The people there are supporting baseball again. They're obviously showing grief to having the Expos depart. And, our baseball team's called the Midwest Expos. Obviously, we love them. We hope that they do come back. I think Canada needs a second baseball team. It'd be great for the whole country to have an option beside cheering for the Jays. And I think the Expos were really well loved, and we're the older franchise too, right? There's a lot of history there, but until they get a new stadium, I don't think you can say it's likely. But if they can do that, I think MLB is in the same situation where the NHL is, where they don't want to relocate somebody. They'd love to get that big ticket expansion franchise money up front and spread that out throughout the league. So I think if they can get the stadium built, it's going to happen. Time frame on that, it's really impossible to say.
And Quebec's one of those great markets that it's a niche market in Canada. If you look at it, Quebec's a whole different kind of thing. It's not like the rest of Canada. So you can put a team there and all of Quebec will rally behind it. I don't know if you can get some Quebec baseball players that will really help it out. I really wonder why we haven't put a team in Vancouver area. They love that sport, and they love baseball, and they love softball in BC. So if not there, then I think they need another Canada team, put it out in the West Coast. I think it would work out pretty well, especially with the West Coast teams over there. There's lots of options for teams, but I don't know about Quebec. I really don't. I'm iffy on the Expos returning because they lost him once for a lot of good reasons, obviously.
And it came down to mismanagement.
Yeah.
And it came down to finding that stadium, like you said.
Yeah.
So I think those are big issues. How about this? Pan Am Games launching into an Olympic bid, a successful one in 2024. That's what's the rumblings going around with the city of Toronto, a city that has tried to get the Olympics but didn't work out for them. But this time around, in terms of the success of the Pan Am Games so far, with people coming out, and you look at the future Olympians, you look at some of the Pan Am participants from Canada doing exceptionally well. Right now, Canada is in tops of the medals. So if you look at all that, and some of the reasons why Toronto, of course, being the largest city in Canada, doesn't it seem the natural progression is to get the Olympic bid, and could they be successful?
Absolutely, it's the next progression. I think the country has shown, whether it's the Women's World Cup, all the World Juniors, the World Cup coming back,
Even
Events of this
2010
size,
Olympics, right?
Yeah, events of this size, the country supports it 100%. I think, I'm not sure how turnout is. I really honestly haven't watched much of it, but I'm like you. I saw in the news last night that we're leading the medal count, and my jaw dropped. I mean, it's impressive that our athletes are coming that far. How we've done in the Olympics over the past couple has always exponentially been growing. I think the country is getting better and better athletes committed to these programs. I think it is a natural thing to at least throw their hat in the ring and see what happens. I think any event that's been held in this country, I can't think of one in my lifetime that's really been a flop. I think the IOC would look hard at it, and if they don't get it this time around, it's definitely something they should keep looking for.
And here's my thing. I'm from that area. That's my hometown area. There's a lot. It's not just Toronto. It's in Toronto, but it's held around. It's in southwestern Ontario. And that's, I think, the IOC wants to change things and stop spending billions of dollars on Olympic Games and stop throwing money away. Toronto would be a great area to have it because the infrastructure is already there. The cities are around. You have so many major cities that have major events that could host Olympic Games. You're not spending the billions of dollars to build a stadium that eventually is just going to get knocked down or used as a parking lot. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a perfect thing right there, that you don't have to really build a lot more because all the venues are already there from Pan Am, and you can maybe just upgrade them a little bit more. The city is obviously one of the biggest city in Canada, so it has the infrastructure to do it, and that to me is more important than, say, what we can offer else. Because it's, with the way things are going, we look at Sochi, we look at what's coming up in Rio, and a lot of the other Olympic Games, they've just been money thrown in for no reason. So if they want us to change that leaf over, pick a city that has that infrastructure built in, and Toronto has it all. And if you see it when you go there, and you can spread it out into the other surrounding cities. There's a lot of options in southwestern Ontario.
All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break and return with Over Under next.